Hi everyone, welcome to a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam. Governor Greg Abbott of Texas has signed into law a new bill that makes illegal immigration a state crime. There are all kinds of reactions pouring in about this new law. Some like it, some don't. And that's true for almost any new legislation. Some people will like it, some people won't. But first, let's talk about what this new law actually is. This new law in Texas would authorize police to arrest people they suspect crossed the Rio Grande between ports of entry. Senate Bill 4 creates a state crime for illegal border crossing from Mexico, and this bill would go into effect in March. So this new law doesn't go into effect immediately, but it would go into effect in the first quarter of the new year. I can already tell you that 2024 is going to be a very significant year. We are still several days away from the new year, and I already have this feeling that for the United States of America, 2024 is going to be an extremely important year. Of course, there's something really big coming up in 2024 towards the end, and that is the 2024 presidential election. But that's not all. I think between now and the end of 2024, we are going to see lots of interesting political development. So I'm not going to make any predictions, but I feel that it's going to be a very significant year, as I've already said, in the world of politics in the United States. So we just have to wait and see. Okay, so going back to the legislation, this new law in Texas. This new law is very remarkable, and it will most certainly lead to court cases and a flood of support and a flood of opposition. But before we form opinions about it, let's understand the reasoning behind why this is happening. Why did Texas legislature approve this bill, and why did Governor Greg Abbott sign it into law? Let's understand the background. The state of Texas is a border state. It is a massive state. It's a beautiful state. But the state has a big challenge that it has been facing for years now, for years. And that challenge is illegal immigration. Foreign nationals cross the U.S.-Mexico border and they enter the United States illegally. And because Texas is a border state, it's not the only border state, but it's a very big border state, Texas has to deal with illegal immigration problems. Foreign nationals, many foreign nationals, when they cross the border, the U.S.-Mexico border, illegally, and they enter the state of Texas, the state of Texas has to deal with the illegal immigration problems. And as I've said before on this podcast, since 2021, the illegal immigration problems have intensified. Joe Biden's open border policy has enticed millions of foreign nationals to enter the United States illegally. Property owners, elected officials, law enforcement agencies, and residents of Texas have suffered a lot because of the flood of undocumented immigrants. Crimes have gone up, resources are stretched thin, and there's chaos and unrest in the border communities in Texas because of illegal immigration. My friends, there are lots of other problems associated with the illegal entry of people through the U.S.-Mexico border. And when we don't have a secure border, there are so many other issues that take place. For example, illegal drugs are pouring into the United States, and human trafficking is taking place in the border communities. And there's fear prevailing in many parts of Texas, many areas of Texas. Texas is not the only state that's facing these issues. As I've mentioned, there are other border states. There's Arizona, there's New Mexico, there's California, and all of these states are suffering. Recently, Governor Katie Hobbs of Arizona ordered the National Guard to the southern border to address illegal immigration problems. And Texas is also taking action. My friends, we have to understand that this problem has been created by the Biden administration and their open border policy. If the Biden administration wants, they can secure the southern border and stop the influx of undocumented immigrants. But there's lack of action on the Biden administration's end. The administration is not taking action to stop illegal immigration. And that's why our country as a whole is suffering. And the state of Texas, obviously being a border state, the state is suffering, and the people of Texas are going through a lot of pain and suffering. My friends, let me point this out. A Democrat governor, Katie Hobbs, she's the governor of Arizona, a Democrat governor has expressed her unhappiness about the Democrat administration, that is the Biden administration. I have a podcast episode that I published. It's called Democrat Governor versus Democrat President. You should listen to that. So what's happening in Texas? In Texas, the elected officials have to take action. They have to do the best that they can to address the border crisis. And so, among other steps that the state of Texas is taking is Senate Bill 4, which makes illegal border crossing a state crime. Understand one thing, my friends. Texas can't just sit idle and watch the residents of the state suffer. There has to be some action taken to address this illegal immigration problem. And so, the elected officials of Texas are taking action. Under this new law enforcement officers must have probable cause to arrest suspected illegal immigrants. Once a person has been arrested and is in custody, that individual could agree to a judge's order, a Texas judge's order, to leave the United States, or the individual could be prosecuted on misdemeanor charges of illegal entry. And if the undocumented immigrant does not leave, the person could face arrest again under more serious charges. Obviously, this law does not apply to those who are present in the United States legally. Legal immigration is good. Illegal immigration is bad. So this law does not apply to those who have followed the immigration laws to enter the United States through the proper immigration process. So legal, those who are in the United States legally, this law does not apply to them. The law cannot be enforced on anyone who has been granted asylum or the people who are in the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival Program, so DACA. This law in Texas, it's a state law, which means that it can be enforced anywhere in Texas, in any part of Texas, all over Texas. It's not just a law for the border communities. This law is applicable all over Texas. However, there are some exceptions. There are some places where the law cannot be enforced, such as churches, public and private schools, hospitals, and there are some other locations. This is a major step, my friends. This law, I think that this law will be written in the history books as a big step that the elected officials of Texas took against illegal immigration. Whether the law is going to go into effect in March or not, we have to wait and see. Is the law going to be stopped by legal challenges? We have to wait and see. If the law goes into effect in March, what will the environment be like in Texas? Will there be lots of fear and uncertainty among the undocumented immigrant population? I don't know the answer to that. There's another question that came up in my mind. How many arrests are likely to take place every day or every week or every month if the law goes into effect in March? I don't know the answer to that. There are lots of questions, but not enough answers. However, I can tell you what I think that this law will do even before it goes into effect. I think that this law will discourage foreign nationals from entering Texas illegally. It may not discourage them to enter the United States illegally, because let me point out, as I have done before, that there are other border states. Texas is not the only state at the southern border. There are other border states. So what may end up happening is that this new law in Texas may discourage foreign nationals from entering Texas illegally, but it may not discourage them from entering the United States illegally through other border states like New Mexico and Arizona and California. The only thing that would prevent people from entering the United States illegally is strong border security and the enforcement of our nation's immigration laws. But as I've told you before, there's no real action coming from the Biden administration in this regard. The Biden administration has kept the southern border open, and they continue to keep the southern border open, which is why undocumented immigrants are pouring into the United States. But what I think may end up happening is that this law, this new law in Texas, this new state law that makes illegal border crossing a state crime, this new law may discourage foreign nationals from crossing into Texas, which might mean that the undocumented immigrants will probably choose New Mexico or Arizona or California for border crossing. If this law can withstand legal challenges, then what I think will end up happening is foreign nationals who are planning to come into the United States illegally, they will likely choose New Mexico, Arizona, or California and not Texas. So what will happen in Texas is that there will be some relief for the people of Texas. What will be the magnitude of that relief? I don't know. What I think we need is strong border security in general. We need to enforce our nation's immigration laws, and we need to have physical barrier at the southern border. We need to have personnel at the southern border. We need to have technology at the southern border, and we need to enforce our nation's immigration laws, and we need to stop the influx of illegal immigrants. We need to secure the entire southern border so that we can completely stop this influx of illegal immigrants. And so I support strong border security, but unfortunately, with the current administration, the Biden administration, we are not seeing any real action to secure the border. So share with me your thoughts, my friends. What do you think this new state law in Texas is going to do? What do you think the effects will be? Do you think it's going to go into effect in March, or do you think it'll be struck down by the judicial system? We have to wait and see, but I want to hear your thoughts, so please connect with me. Go to my website, tausifanam.net, and send me a message. You can also find me on social media. You can email me. My email address is tausif@tausifanam.net. I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you once again, and I hope to be back again soon with a new episode of Explore and Engage with Anam.